everybody, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is AMC Movie News production manager, Dennis Zen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of AMC Movie Talk. As you can see, I switched chairs over here. I just felt more comfortable here. I saw Entourage last night, and I thought it was a blast as a fan of the show. And also in non-movie news, Fallout 4 came out. That's why I'm wearing my shirt.
Well done.
There you go.
Also, here's AMC's Christian Harloff.
What's up, everybody? I had glasses on. Now they're off because I stole them from Mova, but I
Where'd
don't
they
care.
go?
Entourage, don't worry about it.
All right. Also, here is AMC's Mark Ellis.
I'm also wearing something of Ashley's, but you can't see it on camera right now.
All right, yesterday, Warner Brothers released a press release confirming that Furious 7 director James Wan has signed on to direct Aquaman starring Jason Momoa. In addition to the announcement of Wan coming on board, a short synopsis of the future movie was included in the release. An icon for over 70 years, Aquaman is the king of the seven seas. This reluctant ruler of Atlantis, caught between a surface world constantly ravaging the sea and Atlanteans looking to lash out and revolt, is committed to protecting the entire globe. Aquaman is scheduled to open on July 27th of 2018 in AMC theaters everywhere. Dennis, what do you think of the choice of James Wan to direct Aquaman?
I think it's a good choice. He's a much sought-after director right now because of how successful Furious 7 is. I think it made like $350 million domestic. I think almost 1.5 billion worldwide. Yeah, it's nuts. There was talks about him joining Sony to do Robotech as well, but I don't think that's confirmed yet. I liked what he did with Furious 7, especially considering the circumstances that he was under. Obviously, with Paul Walker's death, there was a lot of things that he had to deal with that Justin Lin didn't, even though I still like 5 and 6 better. But I think he's going to bring something to Aquaman. I haven't watched any of his horror movies, but I think just from seeing Furious 7 and what he does with the action, I think Aquaman, I think he can bring that, especially with Jason Momoa. What do you think, Christian?
I like the choice of James Wan. I'm a big fan, and I think what you said before, you hit it on the head as far as all the circumstances, everything he had to do with Furious 7, and still was able to turn that movie out as fast as he did and as successful as he did. But from there's conflicting reports on that set of what he was actually able to do as a director. He wasn't at 100% because of all the notes that he had to do and things that he had to make up. So it was a very particular circumstance with Furious 7. So I loved The Conjuring, and I'm not a horror guy. I loved what he did with that movie, and I'd like to see what he's going to do. What I like about James Wan is he's not sticking in one genre. He's not staying. He didn't stay in the horror genre. He moved to the action with Furious 7. Now he's moving to the comic book genre. The only thing that I take an issue with is calling Iron Man an icon for the last 70 years. I don't know if he's an icon yet. I know he's a famous character. I just don't know if he's an icon yet. They spooked him in Entourage. He can be an icon. I just don't know if he's one yet.
Yeah, I'm really horrified at how excited I am for Aquaman. Like, I did not think I'd get this pumped. Then Jason Momoa casting, it's like, that's the best dude to play this role. And this might be the best director, too. I'm so excited about this because, like you guys pointed out, he came from a horror background. I love his horror movies, and I like when a horror director gets a chance to do something else, like with Furious 7, because the building of suspense in a horror film isn't all that different from building an action sequence. And everything, all the extenuating circumstances that he had to deal with on Furious 7, I think it really lends a lot of credibility, and it probably proved to the studio that he can helm something like this that's going to be coming off a Justice League movie or a Batman v Superman, and it's got all this hype around it. So you're taking a comic book character that iconic. He's famous, but he also has been lampooned for a long time. This lends such a legitimacy to this project that I'm pumped for Aquaman.
I have one concern, though, and it has nothing to do with James Wan. It's the release date. It's 2018, right? What if what happened with Wonder Woman happens to James Wan? 2018 is a far time away, and with Wonder Woman, in such a short time, they already had the director, Michelle McLaren, drop out, and they had to get Patty Jenkins. So that's a long time. Are you guys concerned with this?
I mean, yes, especially because he's probably going to have other projects, you would assume, from now until 2018. he's a director and he wants to work. So it no matter what else let's say he puts together something else, something big soon. Well, maybe it's Robotech sooner, or maybe something else, and that thing hits, and they want him back for a second one. Is it possible that we lose him? Yes. Plus, we don't know what the DC universe is going to look like by the time 2018. They have to. Batman v Superman has to deliver. Suicide Squad has to deliver, and Wonder Woman has to deliver. So if those movies don't, they might switch it up, and that movie might not even happen. So am I concerned about it? I'd like to see James Wan do something. So it's very possible that could happen.
Well, we know he's directing the Conjuring sequel, right? And then maybe this Robotech thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, he's still not officially signed on for a Furious 8 sequel.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he's official, no.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, also, it's like, I don't think there's going to be any stink on him. If he had to leave the project, I don't think that's on him at all. I think that's going to be more DC's problem to deal with, because they've already had that happen with the Wonder Woman situation. So I think Juan is in the clear. I think he will stay on the project. I think he's too big of a name, and they're going to take care of him, and I think he knows what he's getting into with this project. At least that's the hope.
And I think what you said about with Furious 7, with all the notes and all that stuff, he's going to be much freer on this movie. I mean, obviously, WB and DC, they want to have certain things happen, but because of the success of Furious 7, he can say
a little more clout.
Exactly.
For sure, yeah. And but for me, the Furious 7 thing was more because they were put in this position after Walker died. So, and there were some rumors that some of the action was not his style at all, that he didn't want it that way, and other was his. So we don't really know what happened. But like you said, we hope with Aquaman, this is going to be a James Wan directed film, obviously backed by Warner Brothers. But I want to see a James Wan Aquaman and what that looks like.
All right, what's next?
In an interview with our friends over at Collider.com, Sam Jackson revealed that his character, Nick Fury, would not be appearing in the upcoming Captain America Civil War film. He was quoted saying, "I'm not in Captain America 3. I can't figure that out, but I'm not. I guess I'm still out there trying to figure out what happened to S.H.I.E.L.D. and who these other people are." Jackson went on to say it was an honor to play Nick Fury and hopes to extend his contract with Marvel, as his 9-picture deal is coming to an end soon. Christian, do you think it's true that Sam Jackson will not be in Civil War? And if he isn't, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I don't think he will be, and here's why. I don't think I told this story yet. When I went to the Avengers premiere, one of the coolest. I was walking around like a little kid, and as I'm walking by, I see Chadwick Boseman, and I look at him, and he's got this look in his eyes, like, oh, I gotta talk to somebody. He walks up and he talks to Sam Jackson. It was the first meeting between the two, and I was standing right there, eavesdropping like a creep. And what Sam Jackson said is, he's like, "I'm really excited about your movie, man." He's like, "I'm not going to be in your movie." He's like, and this was like months ago. He's like, "I'm not going to be in it. I'm trying, but I don't think I'm going to be in that one." He's like, "But maybe he's like, enjoy the Marvel Universe, kid." And it's this whole thing. It was such a great interaction between the two of them. But he said it then. He's saying it now. I don't know. They're shooting now, so I don't think he's going to be in it. It would kind of make sense for Nick Fury to be in Civil War some way or another. I'd like to see him have a cameo. They figure it out, but I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't think he's gonna be in it.
So you've been sitting on a scoop for like months.
I didn't even realize it was a scoop until I read it. I was like, I should have.
You had to wait for the charges to not be pressed.
Yeah, I know. No, I should have talked about that the second it happened, but I was literally like a little kid. Oh my God, that's Nick Fury and Black Panther.
Well, I was working the red carpet, and I saw you on the red carpet. And yes, you were jumping around, running around like a little kid. Mark, what do you think?
I was nowhere near the red carpet that night. I was in my apartment as usual. I can't imagine he's not going to be in the movie. I know they're shooting right now. Then they're going to do reshoots. I think that this is. I don't know if it's a ruse, because it sounds like there's some sort of contract negotiation going. If he wants to get his contract extended, maybe he's not allowed to talk about it, and maybe as of this moment today that there isn't ink on the paper yet, that he can't say that he's in it or if he's not in it. I don't buy it for a second, though. I will not buy it until I actually see Captain America: Winter Soldier stay until the Civil War, stay until the end credits, and see that he's not in it at all. That's the only time I'm going to say that I believe he's not in this movie.
I hope it's not true. And we've had Marvel actors before say, "Oh no, I'm not going to be in this movie." Like Anthony Mackie said he wasn't going to be in Avengers: Age of Ultron. Right. And even though he wasn't a significant role, it wasn't just a cameo. He was, in it quite a bit. Assuming it's true, it's odd to me, given the story. Yeah. All the superheroes are fighting in the world, and Nick Fury's not around. And especially if you read the comic books, I don't remember if he was exactly in it, but Shield plays a big part in it because they're trying to enforce the Superhuman Registration Act, and I think in the comic book Maria Hill is in charge, and she's doing that. So I just don't understand why his character would not be around. What's he doing? If all these people are fighting and he's twiddling his thumbs somewhere.
I mean, look, if it's a cliffhanger-y kind of ending and it ends with them still fighting each other, then maybe he's one of the uniting forces in Infinity War. I mean, you don't know how far they're going to spin this story, but you're right. You would imagine. I think this is clear from these comments that he's not playing a significant role in Civil War, but I can't imagine him not popping up.
Let's play the creative versus the business side of it too. Is that with everyone that you assume is going to be in Civil War, whether it's Spider-Man and Black Panther, everybody that's been rumored so far to be in this movie, which is I think everyone,
literally every Marvel hero.
Like everyone's going to be in it. So it's one thing that because do you want to spend the money on Sam Jackson for that? Because I agree with you guys, Nick Fury should be in it. But if the story that they've written so far doesn't have Nick Fury having a big role in it, do you want to spend the money on Sam Jackson just for a 5 or 10 minute cameo? Or do you want to negotiate this deal, get a nice chunk of change, and use him and utilize him for the other movies, the Avengers that are coming up, and other movies too? I happen to agree with you guys. I think he should be in it. But looking at it at Marvel's perspective, maybe they just think that they can do this movie without him.
Well, along your lines, though, maybe not just the money, but he has that whole 9-picture deal, right? And I think he's done 7 already.
Why waste it on?
Yeah, and they may have to waste it for this one. Maybe that's it. I mean, what would you guys do? Because he says he loves playing Nick Fury, but his contract ends after 2 more pictures. Right. But he says he wants to re-up. What do you guys think if he doesn't come back?
If he doesn't come back in Civil War?
No.
Or
just in general.
Any of them.
Yeah, let's say he comes back, it does his 2 pictures, and then that's it.
Right.
For Sam Jackson's Nick Fury.
Well, I don't think a lot of these heroes are going to come back after Infinity War. No. I think that's going to be the end of their run. It's called Infinity War, and it seems like they're trying to set up a new universe with Inhumans and some other things that are coming out that they're going to try to push us forward with different superheroes, and then eventually they all get rebooted. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's done after Infinity War, but I think that he'd like to be in every movie he can until that happens.
But if that's the case, though, right there, then you have your answer to Civil War. Because if they don't sign him for another contract, right, then you need him for Infinity War. That's 2 movies.
Okay.
So you have him for 1 and 2. You can't use him in Civil War.
Maybe that's the reason.
That could be the reason. Because if they don't renegotiate a new contract and they're not going to sign him to any more movies, you need him in Infinity War. You have to. So you put him in those. You cut your losses and say, okay, look, we're not going to be able to re-sign this guy. We need him in these 2 movies. We don't put him in Civil War.
Well, here's what we know is that we need to get Christian on the red carpet for Sam Jackson's next movie to find out more information.
True.
And then if he doesn't come back, maybe they take Colby Smulders and Maria Hill and go, okay, now you're the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then try and either renegotiate with him or get another person to play Nick Fury. All right, guys, that's it for the main topics. Now on to buy or sell. What do we got, Ashley?
Jennifer Lawrence, the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 star, shared on Facebook a first-look photo of the upcoming finale to the hit franchise. The picture features Katniss, Jennifer Lawrence, along with Gale, Liam Hemsworth, Masala, Evan Ross, and Finnick, Sam Claflin, decked out in combat gear and weapons in a war zone. Also noteworthy is that Lawrence titled the photo 6915 #Mockingjay Part 2 #Unite, which leads us to believe that June 9th will be the release of the first trailer for the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. The movie comes to AMC theaters this November 20th. Mark, buy or sell this first look at the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2?
Yeah, I mean, they're all looking at something, and it looks ominous, so I'm going to buy it. There's not a whole lot of information to be gathered from here other than there's an action sequence, and it looks like it's going to be the 4 of them against some huge force. So on this very limited look, yeah, I'm going to buy it. I mean, I love the way that the last Hunger Games film left off. I love that we were left breathless, like, oh my God, this thing's about to really go down. So that's what it looks like. Like Ashley said, they're in combat gear. I think I'm buying that the trailer's going to happen. When Jennifer Lawrence hints it's going to happen, this is going down.
I'm going to buy it as well. Obviously it's not an amazing picture. At quick glance, if you look at it, and you don't really look at who's in it, it kind of looks like a picture from the last movie, right? Yeah. So it's not that big a deal. But I would put money, with her tagging it with the date, I put money that the teaser trailer is coming out. And, we all know it's not really Jennifer Lawrence posting this photo on her Facebook.
It might be.
No.
Maybe she's a social media person.
Christian?
Yeah, I'd buy it. And for what you just said, it does look like the last movie, but it's supposed to. It's Part 2.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's continuing. I love that they're starting to promote it and get people excited and aware that this is the end of these 4 movies. I love she got the bow. She's in charge. That was kind of what the last movie was all about, was her accepting her role. She's leading the charge here. And I love the fact of why this picture was released, like you said, to say the trailer's coming, get ready for it. So yeah, it's a buy.
All right, what's next?
A new trailer has come out for Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. In this 5th installment of the franchise, Ethan Hunt, played by Tom Cruise, and his IMF friends are faced with a new threat, this time a secret organization known as the Syndicate, which is also referred to in the trailer as the anti-IMF. The movie is being directed by Chris McQuarrie, and along with Cruise also stars Simon Pegg, Jeremy Renner, Alec Baldwin, Ving Rhames, and Rebecca Ferguson. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation opens on July 31st in AMC theaters everywhere. Dennis Byer, sell this trailer.
A big buy for me. I love the look and the tone of it, the feel. I remember a few months ago on one of the shows when they moved the release date up to July 31st. I sold it. I was like, nah, there's no way they're going to make it. It looks like I was wrong. It looks like they're going to have it. I like, at first, Ghost Protocol, I really liked it. I was like, okay, they should bring Brad Bird back for the next one. Now that I see what Chris McQuarrie is doing with this, I kind of like this rotating door of directors, so that each one comes in and while maintain the spirit of Mission Impossible, they each bring in their own style and ideas, and this one just looks great. I love the spinning car in the alleyway. Alec Baldwin adding in, he's doing all these stunts. Christian, what do you think?
This looks phenomenal. Big buy for me. I'm super excited for this movie because of the 4th one and what Brad Bird did. JJ did a good job on number 3, but the 4th one just breathed a whole brand new life into the franchise, and this looks like McQuarrie is continuing that. So I agree with what you're saying as far as bringing the new director, but as long as you're kind of continuing the wave of what the person did before you, because I think Brad Bird did that with JJ as well too. And nobody did it for the John Woo version, but but it was terrible. But this trailer, everything involved in it looks like Mission Impossible, because I didn't love Jack Reacher, but I like the action of what McQuarrie did. And this looks like that's times 100, and it looks like the team's in order, and you get those classic Mission Impossible moments when you're jumping through the scene. You can get those big moments and the camaraderie between the team. I'm really looking forward to this movie, and it might be one of the. I don't know if surprise is the right word, but I think it's going to deliver on the expectations. I hope so, anyway.
Oh, yeah, this is a huge buy. When Led Zeppelin is in the trailer and it's not the best part of the trailer, that's an impressive feat. I thought that they were selling this thing just on that one action sequence with Tom Cruise hanging on the side of the plane, which he actually did, which you should not try at home. There's so many other great action sequences in here, like the motorcycle chase that's on that highway. It looks intense. The only thing I could nitpick is like, well, this story feels a lot like the last one where, now we're on the run and we got to... It's like, can we just be all friends again and just go after a bad guy instead of them chasing us, then have something to prove that we're not the bad guys? But that's such a small thing that if that's the way that we have to keep telling these stories, I'm totally fine with it, because the team that they built in Ghost Protocol has solidified, and it seems like they're on the same page. Now, Jeremy Renner is talking a lot with Alec Baldwin. Is he going to get back in the field? Is he still going to be a good guy, or is he going to be working 2 ways? I'm so intrigued by the plot lines in this film, but overall, I just want to see a great action movie. That's what this looks like to me.
Isn't the storyline with the Syndicate, the anti-IMF stuff, isn't that similar to Spectre and Bond? What's coming out?
It does look similar for sure. That's that you're talking about crossovers, and you guys were talking about it yesterday on the show. I don't know if it's Paramount, right? So who knows? Maybe Bond gets, because I know you guys mentioned Bond.
Yeah, because Bond's franchise rights are lapsing for Sony.
What about Mission Impossible and Bond? I mean, that would be interesting. You did a crossover. How about that?
If you kids work for the FBI, prepare to go on the run, because you're probably going to have to do it at some point in your career.
All right, what's next?
The first Green Band trailer for Vacation has debuted. In this comedy sequel, Ed Helms plays the adult version of Rusty, Clark Griswold's son from the original movie. This time, it's his turn to bring his family to Wally World for a memorable vacation. The movie also stars Christina Applegate, Leslie Mann, Chris Hemsworth, and also Chevy Chase and Barbara D'Angelo reprising their roles as Clark and Ellen Griswold. Vacation hits AMC theaters on July 29th. Christian Barr saw this trailer.
I'm a big fan of Clark Griswold. I really bought the Red Band trailer last time. I'm selling this one, and I really want to see this movie. I really want it to be great. Vacation's one of my favorite comedies of all time. I don't know what it was. This one didn't do it for me. It seemed like a lot of the jokes were kind of reaching. I didn't get the laughs I did from the Red Band, and I don't know, maybe because I don't know what it is. It's just this one didn't feel like Vacation at all to me. It didn't feel like the original feel. I know that they're going kind of away from it, and that's kind of going to be a play on it. But this particular trailer, even though I'm very excited for the movie, I just didn't like it, so I'm going to sell it.
I'm gonna buy it. Obviously it's not as funny as the Red Band trailer because they can't show or say as much. But I thought there was moments. I like the whole that car that they have. What's it, the Tartarn Prancer or something? Has all that buttons, and they press the button and it rotates around. I just thought it was funny, and obviously they're limited with it. But I'm still looking forward to it. What do you?
I'm buying it. I thought it was hysterical. This movie looks so funny, and I think it does. It did feel like Vacation. It did feel like an updated version of Vacation. Plus, all the different comedic cameos that are going to be in this movie. I mean, you would expect somebody like Charlie Day or Keegan-Michael Peele to be in this movie, but I think that Chris Hemsworth looks hysterical in this. I mean, that was the shocking thing about the trailer to me. And then I like that Chevy Chase is in it. I hope that they don't oversell that angle of it. This is going to be Ed Helms in a different family. My favorite part of the trailer was the callback and the updated version of the Christy Brinkley driving on the road. I think we're going to get that's going to be like the recurring theme as this kid keeps seeing this other hot chick and what's happening with her. So I thought it felt like Vacation to me, and I'm really excited to see it.
Speaking of Chris Hemsworth, I think he's going to steal every scene that he's in when we see the movie. Also, the little kid. The youngest kid is hilarious.
Right, yeah.
All right, what's next?
The much buzzed about Sundance film 99 Homes, starring Andrew Garfield, Michael Shannon, and Laura Dern, has released its first trailer. The movie is set during the 2008 housing market collapse. Garfield plays Dennis Nash, a hardworking and honest man that can't save his family's home. Mike Carver, a real estate shark played by Shannon, forecloses Nash's house but offers him a way to save his home by having Nash help evict other homeowners in similar situations. Mark Beyer saw this trailer for 99 Homes.
I'm buying the trailer. It was a really well done trailer. Got my pulse pounding watching it. It's got that tinge of, man, this could be a bad guilty pleasure cable movie, but with the talent involved with Andrew Garfield and Michael Shannon and Laura Dern, I was totally locked into this. This seems like a real pulse pounding kind of thing, and with Andrew Garfield playing something totally different than what we saw him on screen last as, I'm excited for this movie too.
Christian?
I like the tone of it. It was like really, it was quick and it was powerful, and what I buy it, yeah. So and you also get to see Zod and Spider-Man team up, so that's cool. But yeah, there's just something between watching these two guys back and forth. It looks like you're going to get a lot of dramatic kicks, and I was locked into it from the second it started, and they're both very engaging actors. So like I said, it was the pace of the trailer that I really liked.
It's a big buy for me. I don't care for the name of the movie, 99 Homes.
Yeah. Sounds like a rap song or something.
Yeah, instead of 99 Problems.
Right,
but yeah, you guys are right. It's the cast. It's Andrew Garfield, Michael Shannon, and Laura Dern, and especially the dynamic that's going to happen between Andrew Garfield and Michael Shannon. They're both really good actors. And Andrew Garfield, he has a kind of like a likable, relatable quality to him, and I think it's cast very well in this. And we've seen Michael Shannon play a similar character to this before, kind of a shady, manipulative character. The first thing I remember seeing Michael Shannon in was that Runaways movie where he played what's that character's name?
I remember his name.
The producer,
right.
But he kind of had that quality to you. So I think there's going to be a dynamic between these two characters that I think is going to just like bring the whole movie like a lot of tension.
Yeah, I'm a huge Michael Shannon fan. It's been too long since I've seen that guy in a movie, and so something like this, it seems like it's right in his wheelhouse. And again, it could end up being like he's the villain. We know Andrew Garfield's going to be the good guy. He gets shady for a while and comes back to fight for the side of justice. But I don't know, man. I mean, the trailers are like art in themselves. This was a really good 2-minute movie.
And I like the setup of it because it's kind of like that dilemma of, okay, what are you willing to do? Are you willing to break your moral code in order to like save the ones that you love? I mean, what would you do in that situation? Are you going to help him foreclose other people so that you can keep your house and have your family living there?
God, I don't know, Dennis. That's a really hard question to answer. Yeah, probably I'd go for the money. Sorry, Mom.
Christian?
Oh, man. That's why I rent.
That's why All right, guys. Now on to the mailbag portion of the show where you send in your email. You can email us at amcmovietalk@gmail.com, and we pick out a few to answer on the show. So what do we got, Ashley?
Jameson Mosey writes, "Hey AMC, love your show. My question is, do you think we'll ever see a movie about the story of Bill Gates like we have with Steve Jobs? Biopic or not? Thanks so much."
I think so, but it won't be for a while. He's only, I think, 60 years old. It'll probably happen after he passes away. He'll be alive maybe another 20, 30 years possibly. I'm one of those people who I like Apple products, but I'm not part of that cult of Mac where everything about Apple is fantastic and great. And I find Bill Gates to be an equally interesting person as Steve Jobs. He dropped out of Harvard to start his own company, which ended up being Microsoft. There was the whole antitrust litigation stuff that went with Microsoft in the 90s, and then even post Microsoft, he's a big guy about charity. He's donated billions and billions of dollars. I think like $28 billion, and they plan on donating like most of their fortune by the time they pass away. And I think he's a fascinating guy, and I want to see a movie about him. What about you, Christian?
I'd like to see a movie about him too, but I think the question is also, will you see him pop up in the Jobs movie? Because of the relationships, the kind of competitiveness between the two of them throughout the year. So you might even see him there. Spin-off film. But I think that I don't necessarily know if he needs to die when,
I'm not saying he should die.
Not
Why
today.
you kill him,
Not
Dennis?
today. I don't.
Is he a puppy? Is this another puppy situation?
As far as I don't think there needs to be a movie for him after he passes away. They could always. I think even like Ray was made during the time when I think Ray Charles was still alive. Johnny Cash might have still been alive when they were developing it. But it's because of, I don't know. I mean, I would absolutely want to see it. I know they've done movies about the startup with them before, but it was nothing particularly focused on his life, just him yet. And I also think it's contingent on how Jobs does. Don't be surprised if once Jobs, if it delivers and it's a big Oscar movie, that this gets kicked in quicker than we think and it does really well. It's just because right now there's an air of caution on the Steve Jobs movie because of everything that happened with Sony. Regardless if it's in a new home or not, it still has that air. So right now people are like, well, let's just wait on that type of biopic. Who knows if people are going to be interested in Steve Jobs? And if they are, don't be surprised if we hear about it in the next 5 years.
Mark?
I think so, yeah. DJ Qual is just waiting for that phone call to play Bill Gates. I was either going to have him or the lead in Silicon Valley. I think could maybe pull off Bill Gates, too. Was Anthony Edwards Steve Jobs? Or I think he was Bill Gates in the TV movie.
Yeah, he was Bill Gates, and Noel Wiley was Steve Jobs.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's fascinating. I think that there is something to Dennis's point. I don't think you want to kill Bill Gates, but I think that there is something to, once somebody passes away, it's a lot easier to make a movie so that person themselves can say, oh, no, this happened like that. That didn't happen like that. So there's a fear that if you make a biopic of somebody who's still alive, that they're going to have too much of, hand-wringing in what the actual story is. But you're right. He's a fascinating dude. Anybody that looks like that has a wife that attractive, there's got to be a great backstory, and he certainly has that.
Well, not only, it's not that I want him to die. I'm just saying that he'll be remembered more fondly. Because right now, he's not cool, right? It's like Apple and Steve Jobs is considered cool. I think as the years pass on and maybe closer, as maybe he's dying or something, people will remember him better.
Is that Microsoft Surface still working for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Jobs also, the thing with Jobs, the difference in their personalities are significant. Where you have Jobs was this guy who was no secret, was very combative, and people were like, he screamed at people he worked with, he screamed at everybody. Bill Gates is more reserved, so it might be it's a timid movie as opposed to this. Jobs is going to be, and Fassbender playing Jobs, even though he doesn't look like him. You can see him doing this too, so it's just different movies, and I really do believe that it's gonna. Let's see how Jobs does.
I mean, I've read stories about Bill Gates berating employees as well, so there is
but not
lot
yelling.
of side.
He just does it with his mind.
He kills people with his mind.
The whole movie is 2 hours of Bill Gates sending sternly worded emails. Riveting cinema.
No, don't do that. Don't.
All right, what's next?
Mark Wallendahl writes, hello, Movie Talk crew. Love the show and never miss an episode. My question to you is this. What is your favorite movie where the bad guy wins? Mine is Arlington Road. I wish more movies had endings like this because it's not what you expect to happen. Thanks and keep up the great work.
Christian?
Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
Kaiser Soze. I mean, that's one of the best, and you're almost rooting for him. It's crazy how you're like, no, I shouldn't, but I am. And speaking of Kevin Spacey, 7, because he wins. Like however that movie ends, he wins. So, and that's it's a ballsy move for when the bad guy does win, because you leave going, uh-oh. I mean, you could even say Empire Strikes Back if you wanted to, because they kind of win, but I think those Kaiser Soze and 7.
Mark?
I'm going to go with Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, man.
See the end of Rosemary's Baby? He has his father's eyes. Oh, I love that line. Another one that I thought of initially when I read the question was Brazil. directed by Terry Gilliam. It's really like you get into this movie and it's so trippy, and when you find out what actually is going on right at the end, it's rarely a good feeling when something like the villain winning. Can I also, if you say Empire Strikes Back, I could also throw the first Rocky at you. I love Apollo Creed to death, but we're not rooting for Apollo Creed in that boxing match.
He's not a bad guy.
Yeah, he's more antagonist than a villain, though.
I wasn't rooting for him.
He's not a bad guy.
The guy I picked didn't win.
Yeah, Usual Suspects is on my list. Primal Fear is another one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Both those two have a twist. Another one I would say is There Will Be Blood. He's a villain. It's just he happens to be the protagonist. But there's something about Daniel Day-Lewis's performance. For some reason, even though he's a terrible guy, you kind of empathize with him.
You don't want to go bowling with that guy.
No, and it happens at the end. I remember Arlington Road. I watched it. I liked it. I watched it because Mark Pellington directed it, and he had directed that Pearl Jam's Jeremy music video. Remember the one that won all those MTV Music Awards?
Right.
And that's why I watched it, and I liked it. So
yeah, that's speaking of a movie where the bad guy won, the Jeremy video.
all right, guys, that's it for today's episode. I want to thank the people at the table with me. Mark, where can people find you?
Online at 5150 Ellis. That's Twitter and Instagram, and that's it.
Christian?
We're going to be talking, first of all, Christian Harloff at Instagram and Twitter, but we're going to be talking about that twist in the Star Wars comics. Yes, I know everybody wants to talk about it. Going to be talking about it today on AMC Jedi Council. Campia and Schnepp will be on the panel. Make sure you come and check it out. And hashtag AMC Jedi Council. Get your questions on the show.
And Ashley, where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram at Ashley Mova. Happy Thursday, guys.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero and on Instagram, Dennis.tzng. And make sure to subscribe to the AMC Theaters YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/AMC Theaters. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.